What is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I am having to talk about some news that has come out about my Green Bay Packers and the naming rights debacle that's going on right now, apparently, and I cannot believe this is even being discussed. So for people that maybe have been sick or not and haven't seen the news. The new president of the Green Bay Packers, because Mike Murphy had to retire because of the mandatory age 70 rule that they have. The Packers are owned by the city. So they don't have a $1 billion overlord as their owner. So because of that, the Packers have this thing where they're not owned by a actual owner. So the team president kind of is like the guy that kind of runs the show, essentially, for the Packers because they don't actually have an owner. So whoever gets appointed as the team president is kind of really running things for the Packers. So Mark Murphy retired because they have a rule at age of 70. That's when you're supposed to retire and a new person's supposed to take over. So Ed Policy is our new team president, okay? And he came out today and basically said that we might be considering selling the Lambeau Field naming rights for the stadium. And it got immediate backlash, as you could just imagine. This is insane. First of all, okay, he talked about the cash flow, that they need more cash flow to keep everything afloat. The Packers are owned by the city. They're not owned by $1 billion overlord. So to me, this just comes off as a cash grab. I don't think the Packers economically are in danger as a team, okay? And I'll tell you why I don't think they are. Because the Packers are a team that is owned by the city. They're always selling out games. Okay, keep this. There is a 30-year wait list just for season tickets, okay? For Packers season tickets, there is a 30-year waiting list. Okay? 30 years. And you probably are not going to even be guaranteed to get it in a lifetime because there are people that hand their season tickets down from, descendants and whatnot. Okay? So the Packers, they're always selling out their games. They are, again, season tickets, always guaranteed. You always have a Packers game. Packers are always selling out their home games, okay? No matter win, lose, or draw. Like, they are always selling out their games. They are owned by the city, okay? They're owned by the fans, okay? Okay, it's not owned by $1 billion overlord. My Packers do not need extra revenue, okay? This is a bullshit fucking lie. And you're seeing it now by the media. They're trying to say, oh, well, it's not going to matter. It's not going to change anything. Like, some people are saying that, well, if they do sell the naming rights, it's going to be something like, like Arrowhead's doing right now in Kansas City. Like, well, they Kansas City, for anybody who doesn't know, actually sold their naming rights to their stadium a few years ago. To, I don't even remember what the name was, but they sold it to them and they basically called it That Company at Arrowhead is what they called it. So they kept Arrowhead in there, but they have the company name in there, right? But you get that point right now. I don't even know who the company is because guess what? Nobody fucking calls it that. They call it Arrowhead still. And that's what they're going to do with the Packers. Fans are going to always call it Lambeau Field, regardless. But this whole idea, they're going to call it Lambeau Field no matter what, so what does it matter? I'm like, It does matter. It's hollow grounds. Lambeau Field, which was originally City Stadium, but they renamed it Lambeau Field. You want to know why? Because the founder of the Packers is who it's named after, Curry Lambeau. Okay? That's why it's called Lambeau Field. A guy, was a pioneer to the Packers, and it was a tribute to him. To rename it something else, even if it's like company name at Lambeau Field, okay? Or company name stadium at Lambeau Field, okay? Even if you want to do that, okay? That is so disrespectful to everything. And this is what I'm talking about the NFL. The NFL has become this like corporate fucking greed where everyone is just trying to gouge everybody out of money. Like, I mean, they got billions of dollars into the football league now. Okay? People's salaries, the salaries keep going up every year. But now we're going to this point where all these teams are trying to get out of outdoor stadiums because they want to host Super Bowls and Final Fours and dumb shit like that that doesn't even matter about anything. But again, it is just, we want more cash flow. We want control of the stadiums. We want more cash flow for everything. And that's why you're seeing it with the Bears, the Browns. Obviously the Bears are going to be moving from Soldier Field at some point. We just don't know officially yet where they're moving, whether it be going to Indiana or they're going to Arlington Heights. But again, both of those scenarios are going to be domes. All right? Packers are never going to have that. Packers are always going to be an outdoor stadium. They're never going to change the stadium because, the city will never allow it. Okay? The city will never allow them to, it doesn't matter he's a team president. The city will never allow them to get rid of Lambeau Field. And Lambeau Field's in good shape. It's like the best stadium. It's the best state-of-the-art stadium right now. For a modern old school stadium, it's best. It's got revamped. It's always like in the top 3 best stadiums every year, which is why I tell people all the fucking time that say that this bullshit narrative about how all these stadiums that get replaced, right? For these bigger super stadiums. This is why I always say that they're full of shit when they tell you that. Because Lambeau Field is over 50 years old. It's like 60 years. I think it's like 60 years. It was made in 1958. Okay. It's an old stadium. Okay. So the fact that that Lambeau Field is even being considered, Lambeau Field, which again has a huge legacy. Okay, it has a huge legacy going all the way back again. In the 50s, in the late 50s, when it was first introduced. And it's still one of the best stadiums to date. Today, competing with all these other super stadiums, people still mark Lambeau Field as like one of the best stadiums to go to. Okay? When it first opened in 1957, it was amazing. It's an amazing stadium. It's been renovated over the years. And it is still doing very well. And the fact that we're stooping so low to basically say that we don't have enough money, so we're going to, get rid of such a landmark. I view it as a landmark, and I'm sure everyone else does too. To change Lambeau Field, which again, it was a tribute to Curry Lambeau, okay, who, without him, there is no Packers, okay? So, I think it's a slap in the face to the fans that this is even suggested. All right. I'm not happy with Ed Policies right now. He's already our new president. He's going to be a president. He's going to be our team president for a while. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not happy with this guy. That's the first thing you're going to say as team president is that, oh, we might be changing the naming rights. It's not going to happen now, but it might happen in the future. Because once the Bears leave Soldier Field, we're going to be the only team left that has the naming rights still. Maybe that's for good reasons. Okay? Maybe that's for good reasons. Maybe that's something that you shouldn't touch up on. And you can't tell me that the Packers are not making money. Every year we're competitive. Every year we're selling out games. Ratings are up. There are people that are freaking buying merchandise even out of Green Bay. Okay? Yours truly. Okay? So you got people all across the country that know who the Packers are. All right? And are buying merch. Okay? And are supporting the team. Going to football, or going to freaking watching the games. Okay? The Packers game. This is some straight up bullshit. Okay? No, bro. That is bullshit. Okay? Flat out bullshit. I'm not happy with this announcement. And I've already heard arguments, and I've already heard people like, well, companies, as long as it's, still has Lambeau Field, and it doesn't matter but the thing is, it won't be the same. It won't be the same. People are still going to call it Lambeau Field no matter what, but the fact that you would sell it like that, and be like, oh, yeah, we want some extra money, so we're going to do this. Some things should not be touched. And, unfortunately, this is one reason why I like the Packers, are so great. Having to be a part of a football team that I've been liking since I was 3 years old. The fact that it's not owned by a $1 billion overlord, okay, always made me even happier to be a Packers fan. Because we didn't have all this bullshit that every other football team has. Okay? The bullshit that the Browns are going through right now. Forcing the city to their hands. What the Bears are doing. Okay? What Washington's doing right now. Even though Washington really does need a new stadium because their stadium is the shitholes. But, and you see what Arrowhead's doing right now, or Kansas City's doing right now. Kansas City's going to be leaving Arrowhead, and they're going to go to the Kansas side of Kansas City because, they don't like Arrowhead anymore. No, it's not they don't like Arrowhead anymore. What they don't like is that they lost the sim tax. Oh, the voters dared to not give them the sim tax for another 50 years. So because of that, they were like, yeah, we're out of here. Even though they could have negotiated a new deal, with just from what I understand from the voting with Kansas City, the reason why they didn't vote for that sin tax or whatever it was, the reason why they didn't vote for it was because it was for that and the baseball team. It wasn't just for Kansas City. It was for the baseball team too. That's there. Okay? And they didn't want that. Now, if they would have negotiated a separate deal with Kansas City, with the Kansas City Chiefs, for the renovations, they might have gotten it. It might have been different. But the Chiefs no longer cared at that point. They only cared about the new freaking thing in the Kansas side of Kansas City. At that point, which again, it's going to be a dome too. So another example of like, oh, it's a chance for us to host Super Bowls and Final Fours. I want to just reiterate to people that still keep bringing this up, this argument. Oh, we want to oh, we want to host Final Fours. We want to host a Super Bowl. You know, I'm gonna break. I hate to break your little hearts right now. Most of the teams that get these super stadiums are not fucking hosting the Super Bowl or hosting Final Fours. Because guess what? They have to predetermine it, and you have to have certain rules for why you host the Super Bowl. And if you don't meet those criteria, it doesn't matter how great your stadium is, you still won't host it. Not to mention, you'll have probably multiple teams that get repeats. You don't think LA's going to get like 4 Super Bowls at least in the next 10 years or next 10, 15 years? Because if you don't, you're stupid. Okay? LA's going to get a bunch of fucking Super Bowl hostings. San Francisco's going to probably get a bunch of Super Bowl hostings. Like California always usually gets a bunch of them. Okay, so so a lot of these teams like the Browns that think that they're going to get a Super Bowl, they're full of shit because they're going to focus on those California teams. But again, it's this whole idea, they're promised or there's a possibility we can get a Super Bowl if it's a dome, and it's not. No, we never have to worry about that with Lambeau Field. Lambeau Field is not leaving Green Bay. Is not going to leave Green Bay. It's not going to leave Lambeau Field. They're going to always renovate it because it's owned by the city. So the city is always paying for the infrastructure of Lambeau Field. So you're never going to see, them having to leave, Lambeau Field. But in terms of the stadium rights and stuff like that, because the city owns the team. The city owns the team. They pay for the structures of the stadium. But the idea that the team president is clamoring for the naming rights thing, okay, tells me that they want more cash flow more than what they're already getting. That they want to be with where Jerry Jones is, okay, and where all these other top billionaires are at right now. And I hate to burst your reality here, Ed, but you getting a company to buy into having a naming rights to attach to Lambeau Field, even assuming that that's what they're going to do, which I think they will, is they'll keep Lambeau on there, but it will be, and it has to be Lambeau Field, by the way. It can't be like I heard company field at Lambeau. No, it has to be Lambeau Field. All right, it would be company name stadium at Lambeau Field, because they don't have stadium, so they would keep the field name for Lambeau Field because that's what everyone calls it. But my whole thing is the cash flow that they're gonna get is not going to be getting something that like a Jerry Jones is getting. The Packers are never going to have the same amount of cash flow as a Jerry Jones does. That's why you have the salary cap. You have the salary cap because that allows you to compete. And even before the salary cap, they were able to compete, obviously. It's not like the Packers hadn't been able to compete without a salary cap. They had great coaches and, great teams. They were able to compete, but with the salary cap, it limits what other teams can do, even if they're richer than another team owner, which is the right thing because it's not just about the Packers. Like Jerry Jones, if Jerry Jones didn't have to work, didn't have to work with a salary cap, he could just spend whatever because he has a shit ton more money than like, for example, someone like a Mark Davis from the Raiders. Okay, he has way more cash flow than him. So the salary cap not just benefits the Packers, it benefits a lot of these other lower tier billionaire owners. Okay. But I just think of the idea of them doing this is to try and get them up in arms with where Jerry Jones is at, which they're never going to get there, though. That's the thing. Like, them changing the naming rights is not going to do that. What would do that, like, which again I still don't think it would happen, but something more realistic would be trying to get more like those areas within the land or whatever, because that's what the Browns are trying to do. They're trying to not only just have a stadium, they're trying to have like attractions around the stadium, okay, that they own. They own that part of the land where these restaurants will be at. So that means they get more revenue from the restaurants that are around the stadium, or outside of the stadium. That's something that Lambeau Field should be looking, or that's something that the Green Bay, if you're talking about more cash flow, that is something more realistic. If you're having like, more hotels or more restaurants outside of the stadium, because that's what the Browns are trying to do right now. That to me would be more cash flow than just giving up a naming rights endorsement. But again, I just think this idea just doesn't work. I don't agree with it. And I know a lot of people don't like it. The only positive thing of it would be that it would still be sort of called Lambeau Field, because it would still have Lambeau Field in there, but it wouldn't feel right. And no one would be calling it that. People would still call it Lambeau Field. But it just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't sit right with a lot of people. And it still doesn't sit right with me. And so I am not liking what Ed Policy's doing right now. So already an L right now for Ed Policy as team president. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you like this content. Thank you. And that's about it, guys. I am the S Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Go Pack Go. Peace.